Tucked away behind these trees in the west end of Darlington is a real gem in the allotments world. It's so well hidden from the road that casual passers-by and indeed many local residents could be forgiven for not knowing of its existence. As well as the conventional vegetable patches, there's an orchard at the top of the site and an apiary at the bottom. Its official name is the Hummersknott Allotments and Small Holdings Association Limited. The plot holders are the owners. The site was originally the kitchen gardens of one of Darlington's prominent Victorian families. Let's meet some of the committee members who can tell us more about its history.
I'm Derek Lindsay, President of Hummersknott Allotments Association. This is Dennis Hawley, Secretary, and Paul Watton, Vice President. Paul, you've been making some inquiries and doing some investigations into the background and history of our association. Would you like to tell us just where you are with that?
Yeah, we've got an ordnance survey map dating back to 1856. This shows Nunnery Lane, which is on our northern boundary, and it also shows Hill Close House on the eastern boundary. But apart from the landmarks of the lane and the house, everything else, including what is now our site, is just fields. We know that in 1864, Hummersknott was built for Arthur Pease as his family home. The house was designed by architect Alfred Waterhouse, and the building still stands today. It's part of Carmel Academy.
Something that I've been curious about is the origin of the name Hummersknott. Have you turned up anything in that regard?
Yes, I believe that the word knot is a small hill, and a hummer is a slope leading down to a waterway, such as one of the becks or even the Tees.
Okay. Our site was Hummersknott's kitchen garden, and there was a path that ran from the house to the garden. This is at the back of what is now Clare Avenue and Hill Close Avenue. Part of the path still exists and is used today by students. The northern boundary is a brick wall that is made of bricks from the Pease brickworks. The inside of the wall is deliberately light coloured bricks, and they're light coloured so that they reflect sunlight and generate warmth. Unfortunately, we don't have any photographs of the kitchen garden, but what we do have is an article that was published in the Darlington and Stockton Times in July 1885. This article gives us quite a good indication of what it was like back then. The article describes luscious fruit hanging in the peach house through to the vineries. It goes on to say that it was probably the largest kitchen garden in the area, 4.5 acres in total, with every inch being utilised. Not a piece of fruit or vegetable is sold. All surplus stock is absorbed by the many calls of charity. It goes on to say that a large variety of potatoes are grown for testing, and there are many varieties of apples. At the foot of the gardens, 3 pits have been transformed into melon houses.
So we were charitable then, much the same as we have been recently.
Indeed, yes.
When we've provided surplus produce to local food banks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. In 1898, Arthur Pease died, and he was succeeded by his son, Arthur Francis Pease. In 1902, Arthur Pease leased the kitchen garden site to a gentleman called John Bryden, who was a nurseryman.
So how did the land become allotments in the possession of the association?
Well, around about the time 1917, the allotmenteers were concerned that one of them was trying to oust them all. So they got together, approached Mr. Pease's agent, and to see what could be done. And he suggested they form an association. So they had a few meetings, and then with Mr. Pease and other interested parties, and became an association, and were able to continue that until later when they actually bought the land. So it dates back to 1917.
So that's where we are. We're almost at our centenary.
That's right, next year.
To celebrate on the
1st of May,
1st of May, I
which
think
is
that's, most
the date when it was incorporated.
In 1919, Arthur Pease sold 283.5 acres, basically his entire estate at that time, and he sold it to a company called Hummersknott Estates Limited. The sale of our site included the tenancy, so we remained as tenants. And then in February 1927, Hummersknott Estates Limited put up for sale 263 acres of land, including our site. They tried to sell it initially as one lot, but were unsuccessful. So the next attempt was to carve it up into 11 lots. A catalogue was issued with the auction particulars, and the sale took place at the King's Head Hotel in Darlington on the 14th of February 1927. There was 11 lots. 10 of the lots failed to reach the reserved prices, but our lot was the only lot that sold that day. And the association, I believe, raised capital, and it went for £600.
I think it's fair to say, Paul and Dennis, that your inquiries are continuing, and we hope that there'll be quite a lot more information turned up which will help us to understand what's gone on between the foundation of the association and what we enjoy now. I think we owe a debt to those founding fathers, as it were, of the association, who had the foresight and the enthusiasm to set up the association, to acquire the tenancies, and eventually in 1927 to buy the land.
Yep.
We're in a very unique and fortunate position in that regard. It's of interest that have a duplicate or the counterfoils of the shares which were issued from 1922 to raise capital for the company which was then up and running, the Hummersknott Allotments and Small Holdings Association Limited, same name as we have now. There's quite a bit of information in there which will give us names and addresses of the people concerned who took up the shares, and I'm hopeful that from that we may be able to put a lot more information together, and at the end of the day write it up for posterity. I think I should also explain what we have now and where we've progressed in recent years. We have a thriving association. The gender balance, I think, is encouraging. We are getting a few younger people onto the site. A few people with families, young children who we hope to be encouraged to continue with the gardening here. We've put in a new water system, we've got new gates, we've got a composting loo, we've improved the buildings, very much as a result of funding from particularly from the Big Lottery Fund, which we're grateful for and which we need to acknowledge. We've introduced bees onto the site, and I'm involved in that very much, and so far as I'm concerned that's an integral part of the association. For a number of years now we've held plots competitions, which I think has raised the bar for the standards that we have on the plots. We've had open days which have resulted in many hundreds of people visiting the site, often for the first time, and if I had a pound for everyone who said, wow, I didn't know this was here, this is wonderful, I'd have a few pocket full of money. They've gone away happy. They've usually bought lots of produce that we've put on sale. Next year, as part of our centenary celebrations, which all of this is leading up to, we hope to make a bigger splash with Cockerton Band, for instance, a much longer day for visitors to enjoy with us, and then a more social gathering for members on the Sunday, to help us remember. And
indeed, yeah. I mean, it's not all looking back, of course.
Of course, yeah. That's just
it's
the point
part looking back, and then also looking forward into how we can promote the site for future generations.
Yeah. We're custodians. That's how
we are indeed. Yeah, it'd be nice to think. I mean, obviously, it's been going 100 years next year. That in another 100 years there might be a second centenary. Obviously, we won't be here, but
we won't be sitting here.
No, but you know, hopefully, it'd be nice to think that was possible. You know, so.
Yeah. Well, I've never lost enthusiasm. I just love the place, quite honestly. And,
seeing as it's a new plot to me, making sure I get rid of everything by hand as much as possible.
Hi, I'm Beth Clarkson-Cox.
Hello Beth, how long have you had your allotment?
For about 7 years.
And were you new to gardening at that time?
I knew a little bit about gardening, but not much, so we've learnt a lot over the 7 years.
What sort of things do you grow?
We grow things that I think are fairly easy. Peas, broad beans, a lot of fruit. Parsnips are very easy. Leeks are quite easy.
Do you go in for shore leeks?
No, I don't. I don't think I've got the time to, do all the extras that you've got to do for show leeks.
Can you tell me what you particularly like about allotment holding, Andrew?
But mainly it's the relaxation of it, as opposed to growing much.
You're not into show vegetables then? More just the pleasure of gardening and putting stuff on the kitchen table?
Yeah, I think so. We'd only better win sort of the wonkiest vegetable prize anyway, I think.
John, how big is the plot that you garden on?
It's the size of a tennis court, I would say.
Is it really? Well, that's quite big, really. Yeah.
Do you specialise in any particular type of vegetable?
But generally speaking, I just fill the plot with whatever I fancy to be on the dinner plate, and give some away, of course, to family and friends.
That tree looks like an apple. Do you get much fruit from it?
It's cooking apples. It's quite an old tree. It's probably about 50 years old. Quite a good cropper.
My name's Sarah, and I've been here for about 3 years. I've had the allotment.
You've got a very valuable helper here today.
Oh yes.
This is your son?
Yes, he does all the hard work.
Yeah. And do you enjoy this, Sam?
Well, it's okay, yeah.
Good. And what do you plan to be growing this year?
Well, I've got some fruit bushes in. We've got some blueberries, raspberries and loganberries behind me. Rhubarb as well, and we're just putting some onions in today. A bit of purple sprouting broccoli and hopefully some cauliflowers. We'll just take it as it comes, really.
And do all of the fruits of your labour go onto the kitchen table?
As long as they grow. It's a bit of trial and error, but yes, if it's successful, we eat it.
Good morning, Bill. Can you tell me about your allotment?
Yes, well, I've had the allotment about, I think 9 or 10 years now. And I grow principally stuff that my wife likes to cook with, namely onions, shallots, beetroot, which is going to go in this patch I've dug over today, a few spuds and some leeks at the bottom here eventually. So I'm just about at the end of the hard work, the digging, and the planting should be finished in a couple of days.
And you just sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labour?
No, I sit back and then the weeds come. And thereafter there's a weeding session almost every fortnight. which my wife helps me with, thankfully. That's a bit of a tedious task, but then the produce comes in July, August, and that's when it seems to be rewarding. But the added attraction, of course, is the lovely trees and the bird song we have, which makes it all the more pleasant.
We've taken one frame out to give us the room to look in amongst the rest, and what we're doing is we're checking what's actually on the frames. So on these, they're very heavy with honey. We're looking to check if there's brood. We're looking to see that there's no signs of any diseases. Right, there's brood on here, uncapped at the bottom. Looks like it's going to be drawn because it's a bigger cell.
Yeah.
You can tell by the
What do you
size.
mean by brood?
Right, brood is baby bees. It's larvae that become bees. You can tell by the size of the cell whether they're going to become worker bees, which are ladies, or the drone bees, which are the males. Now, there's loads of brood here, and there's eggs. There's a lot of eggs. Look into the cells, the capped ones. They've been sealed. You can see white curly larvae in some of them. That's uncapped brood. So the capped brood are further on, and they'll hatch out on day 21. From when the egg was laid. Yeah. And then the uncapped ones, we'll know when they get capped over where they are in the stage of bee development. And then in the bottom of some of them, if you get the light on, there's it almost looks like a little grain of rice, like a little white grain, and that is the actual egg. And these are the bees that tend the brood. They go through a cycle of various jobs within the hive, and at the moment these are nurse bees, and they look after all the. So the brood at the bottom, this bumpy where the caps are raised, they are the drone brood. So flat capping is worker bees, bumpy domed brood are drones. And if we come across a queen cell, that's different again, and they're really different. So if we find one, we'll show you what they look like. They look like a bit like a peanut, actually.
Peanut is, hanging down.
Hanging down. So as you can see, there's brood on both sides. What we've also got here is on the outskirts, on the outer limits, we have honey and pollen, which the bees use to make food to feed the larvae with. So when the bees bring back pollen and nectar, it's used to make food for the up and coming bees. I haven't seen any sign of the queen. I've been looking because of the bee and eggs, but she's probably gone down because she doesn't like the light, so she'll go down probably into the dark in the box below. That is a drone. You can see he's broader, he's stockier, and these are the little worker bees. You won't find as many drones. Most of the bees are worker bees. But that drone's decided to go walk about onto the other side.
So I think we're going to
have
to consider doing a split.
And
when you say split, what do you mean?
We'll separate the queen and the flying bees from the brood, which will have the effect of making them think of swarm, or put them off swarming. It's an alternative to waiting to find queen cells, because once the queen cells are there, then they're definitely in swarming mode, and you'll have a swarm. What we've found here is that they'll go to one of these trees initially. That's the first stopping off point. And we've managed to get most of them back. But if, say, they were left there for a day or so, they'd leave for another location. We'd probably lose them.
Do they make the comb themselves?
Yes.
Yeah, it does, but it takes a lot more energy to make the comb than it does honey. So really, if I put the foundation in like that, which is what this is when it starts, it's a wax sheet, and then they pull it. It's like embossed wax sheet, and then they pull it out, you see. And by putting the wax sheet in, then they're spending time making honey and not wax.
We start to see brood now. And this yellow is pollen. It's the queen. She's going to go. She's gone down underneath onto the
Gone
other
into the
side.
dark.
It's a
Just there.
Yeah. The queen is there. We're going to remark her because she should have a blue dot on her.
There she is, there.
She's doing a usual trick of.
Don't. Got a bit of stress, we'll put her back.
Right, so we'll close the hive up and have a quick look at the varroa. That's a varroa mite there. Have you got that? There's another one there.
The varroa mite is a blood-sucking parasite that can cause devastation to bee colonies.
Right, so the last time we had 11, so that's okay, it's nothing to worry about.
So you're really looking for a change in the level?
Yes, if we saw the numbers starting to rise, then we would have to take some form of treatment and use things. You've got to be careful, you have to treat the bees for varroa early in the season or late in the season, because you can't treat them when the honey flow, because the treatments obviously could go into the honey and then it wouldn't be fit for consumption, so we don't want that. So you have to treat them early or late. But we treated them last.
What I'll be looking for is the quality of the produce, the variety that's being grown, and that includes fruit, herbs, as well as the main crops of vegetables. The varieties, the numbers that's being grown. I'll also be looking at the tidiness of the allotment and whether it's weed-free and whether a lot of attention has been made for that purpose. So what I'll do first, I'll start with the newcomers who's been here less than 2 years, and I'll whittle it down to a certain amount, and then I'll go back over those again to verify that I've picked the right one. And what I generally do is when I'm looking at plots, I give them marks out of 10. So at the time I'm going round, I'm giving them marks, and then those higher numbers I'll go back and have another look at them. 9, which I've got down as a newcomer, you can see that there's a good variety of produce being grown. The ground's quite dry at the moment, so things are not growing very quickly, but it's a good plot. It's being kept reasonably tidy. The onions are looking good. Garlic, probably ready for picking. I'll give it an average mark of about 5. 58 is a newcomer, and I can see straight away that the produce in this crop, this plot, is really good. I'm looking at plot 13, which again is a newcomer, and I know that these plots along this edge are underneath the trees, which is always going to be difficult to get full sunlight, which vegetables generally need. But these people, I believe they've got, if they want to be on the allotments, this might be the first area that they've got to come onto before moving on to a better plot. Obviously, this person has, he's made a good attempt, or she's made a good attempt, and they're obviously keen gardeners. I think it can be said that they're not going to win the competition, but they're good. They're making a good effort.
if I really wanted one. Yeah. So I've got 150, 250, 350, £4 so far. Strawberry plants. They're 75p each or 3 for 2. So one can have 3. Yeah. 2. No, I'll just take what I've got. Are you having yours now? Can I come back for them? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Can I have that then?
Yeah, by all means. And my children went to Malden and Hummersknott and I still didn't know. Jam.
Newcomers competition. The first prize again went to Daniel Noble, who is on holiday. Second prize to Annette McGockey, who is here. Come on, Annette. And you'll see by the way Annette's dressed that she's not from this world. For the experienced gardener, third prize, Mandy Wotton.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Again. The first prize winner was Brian Wilson, which will be no surprise to anybody. For the last few years we've made donations to St Teresa's and to the Great North Air Ambulance, which I'm sure you'll all agree are worthy causes for our donations to charity. Unfortunately, the Great North Air Ambulance rep isn't able to be here. I think rather than me handing the cheque over, we have a number of young people who've been helping out today. Can we have them here to do the honours?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Green, 671 to 675 on the green. There we are. Would you like to come and select the prize? Come on out, young lady. There we go, on the pink. 576 to 580.
For some members, there's no time available for leisure today. There's thinning out of fruit that needs doing. There's general tidying to keep things spick and span. And there's always a bit of digging that needs doing.
We've got some lovely cooking apples today as well. We've got a whole bag full and it's really
Have you?
From Grandad Carl's tree. It was his tree, it's not now.
Uh-huh.
And we're taking over the allotment. Yeah, so it has an extra meaning towards the allotment.
So it's kind of in the family, really.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, taking it on, and it's really hard work, but it's a real privilege and it's very rewarding.
Lovely.
So we love to keep at
Keep
it.
it
It's
going.
teamwork. There's 4 of us in the family, and we've got Grandad Barry over on that allotment, and he helps us. And
There's a big beastly slug down here.
Oh,
there's a
dear.
big beastly slug down here.
It was a big beastly slug and he was trying to attack our beetroots.
Yeah, and we don't want
This
to
is
pickle
what
him,
he's
do we?
done to one of
I
our
could end up pickling him if we didn't get hold of him now. So,
Hmm.
well done, son.
So these are King Edwards, or?
No, the Desirees are red ones.
All right, yes. They're a nice potato.
Well, they are in the. They keep well now till about next April, March time.
So that's okay. So that's quite nice, that, doesn't it?
This is my first apple off my first tree.
discovery, and I think the earliest cropping and probably the sweetest as well.
Paul Watton told us earlier that the allotments were originally the kitchen gardens of Hummersknott House, the family residence of Arthur Pease. But what were the circumstances that caused the Peases to sell the land? Ted Licorice, another allotments member and a keen local historian, has been delving into the history books. Arthur's brother Edward died, leaving daughter Beatrice an orphan. Another brother, Joseph, stepped in and brought up Beatrice as one of his own children. But let Ted take up the story.
The chain of events began when Newton, 6th Earl of Portsmouth, was introduced to Catherine Beatrice. Within a few months, Sir Joseph Pease of Hutton Hall, this is the grandson of Edward Pease of the railway fame, he visited Hurstbourne Park in Portsmouth, the family seat in Hampshire, with 600 sweeping acres, landscaped by Lancelot Capability Brown. The estate suggested considerable wealth, but unfortunately it was mortgaged to the hilt and in dire need of expensive repair and in dire need of investment. Though he was not a Quaker, the Pease family was dazzled and flattered by Portsmouth's exalted social rank and failed to see the gold digger that he was. Beatrice and Portsmouth became engaged, and his family had entered immediately into aggressive negotiations for a substantial marriage settlement, a cash gift much like a dowry. Red flags immediately went up with Sir Joseph, who recognised ruthlessness in business when he saw it. The bells were ringing, but it was too late then, unfortunately. So to cut a long story short, Beatrice pressurised her uncle into giving her a dowry. It was held in shares. Now the market was deflated. You know, in the 1800s there were still cycles of prosperity and downturn in industry. And by this time, of course, the Peases were not only just into coal, they were into steel production, they were into railways, and they were into the development of Middlesbrough and the pottery down at Middlesbrough as well, the Linthorpe pottery. You know, they were invested everywhere, and in their bank. You know, they had the J&J Pease bank. They were well spread. Portsmouth insisted that Beatrice demand her money, so they had to sell an awful lot of their assets. But then it became worse. They said, what options have we got? I know what we'll do. We have no other option but to float the company. Up to then, the shares were held within the family, but they went for a public listing. And the public listing was oversubscribed 2 or 3 to 1, which was good news. The price went up. Having already received an amount of money, Wallop thought, right, you know, we didn't really get our fair share. We want more. And it took them to the High Court in London. Wallop and Beatrice had recruited an eminent lawyer, very good lawyer, and actually they won the case. And this was when a lot of the assets, to avoid bankruptcy, because if they were bankrupt, they could no longer hold seats in Parliament. So to avoid bankruptcy, they had to just sell all of their available assets. The area that we're in now was taken over by Barclays Bank, which had been originally Backhouse's Bank, if you remember. Backhouse merged with the Gurneys and the Barclays to form Barclays Bank. So they sort of kept them above water, only just, and Barclays, as part of their overall settlement, took into their possession Hummersknott, as we know it now, Hummersknott Estates Limited, and that was in after 1902 when it all collapsed. They let the lands, the property, so at least the Peases didn't face bankruptcy, but basically they were broke, you know. Hutton Hall, which was a
So there we have it. The Peases were ruined by the actions of one of their own. Incidentally, the cream-coloured building in the background is Hill Close House, the oldest secular building in Darlington, dating back to the 1650s. It's the annual apple sale where members of the public are invited to come along and buy some produce.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This lot's in reserve just in case sales are particularly brisk.
We've just inherited this plot over the past few months, and today I'm just turning it over, digging the soil, preparing it for the summer. I've got plenty of weeds to be digging out, and so that's what I'll be mainly doing today.
It's only November and we've had a fall of snow. It's turned to rain, so I don't think the snow will last very long. So that's what goes on during a full year. What a busy place and what wonderful attention by the allotment holders. The Peace family would be thrilled to know their kitchen garden was in such capable and loving hands. But we can't leave it there. We must see some of the centenary celebrations.
Thank you very much. Then we've had someone to win.
Put it first, 100 and open!
100 and open!
Nice. That's kind of you, isn't it? Right, we'll get on with it.
Very much to rather a lot of people on this our special occasion. We've been in existence for 100 years. As everybody will now know, we've publicised it sufficiently. It's quite a significant occasion, and those of us who are members of the association here are really, really pleased to see such an excellent crowd in attendance and enjoying what we have here. We have a lot of people who have been really, really generous to the association, particularly in the donation of prizes, but also over the last few years in regard to equipment that we've been given. We're really appreciative of what they've done for us. Can I call upon the bandmaster, please? Thank you very much indeed. It's always a delight to listen to Cockett Band, and I hope you'll accept that.
It's been a pleasant afternoon, we've enjoyed it.
Great, thanks very much indeed.
The next celebration.
Yeah, 100 years from now. Okay, let's go on to the plots competition, which we started a few years ago. We have it in two categories, one for the experienced gardeners on the allotments, and the second one for newcomers. Can I call first of all for the third prize winner, Kate Miller, to come and collect her prize, which is in that envelope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kate's brand new to the allotments. She's settled into it really, really well, and it's a delight to see her efforts acknowledged. And first prize in the newcomer section was Laura Atkins and Ellie.
Experienced Gardener category, third prize, Mandy Watton. Well done once again.
Thank you.
Second prize, Paul Harrison. You'll pip him eventually.
I will, I'll get him. Thank you.
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you very much, thank you.
And the first prize, yet again, Brian Wilson. Thanks. Now you stay there as well. I thought it was about time we had something to give to our winners in the two categories to help them show off their achievements, and that's for you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
And for Brian, that's for you.
Oh, thanks,
Well done, and we look forward to many years of your gardening.
What a smashing organisation the Hummersknott Allotments and Small Holdings Association is. It provides food for the table, helps local charities, gives activity to its members whilst releasing their passion for growing things, and indulges in a strong community spirit. Here's to the next 100 years.